Hey everybody, I'm back to talk about another portion of 4.mbt.4, which is subtraction. We will be subtracting large numbers and we will have regrouping or borrowing. Okay, so if you could please watch the video through once and just listen and learn and maybe practice the problems on a sheet of paper, and then go back and watch the video again and stop and pause the video as needed so that you can copy these notes into your math notebook. Your math notebook should look just like mine. All right, here we go. Start by heading your paper with what we are studying. Okay, first we have a good vocabulary word, and that is difference. A difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. You will need to know this because they will give you two numbers and ask you to find the difference, and you need to know that that is a subtraction problem. Okay, so when we use or do subtracting with big numbers, it is the same steps to set the problems up as we did with addition. You're going to stack the numbers up neatly by their place value. You are going to write a little bigger than you normally do to try to keep things neat and easy to see. Make sure you have plenty of space for your problem. And you can also use lined paper and turn it on its side so that you can use the columns. Remember, when you're subtracting, if you're copying two numbers down to be subtracted, that the larger number needs to go on top. Okay? When we subtract, we may need to borrow or regroup. Both of these words they mean the same thing. And you cannot subtract a large number from a smaller number, so then you will have to borrow. So for example, if I have this problem, 135 minus 27, I see here that I cannot take 7 away from 5, so that I'm going to have to borrow. You can't just flip around and say, oh, well, whatever. Okay, how about 7 minus 5? You can't do that. You have to keep it in this order. And if you aren't able to take a big number away, you have to go next door to borrow. Okay, so when you go next door to borrow, you're just taking one from the place value next door. So if this one's place is too small to subtract the 7, I simply cross it out. I write the 2 up because I've taken 1 away from it. And really I've taken 1 unit of 10. So the 30s goes down to now it's a 20. 2 10s is a 20. I put that 1 over next to the 5. And now I can do 15 minus 7. That is doable. And then I got the answer of 8. I subtracted 2 minus 2, I got 0, and then here I just bring down the 1. Okay, so that is regrouping in a nutshell. Please let me know if you still are struggling with that and need me to help you a little more. We're going to do a couple practice problems. Hopefully that will also help. So you can see I've used my lined paper, the columns in my lined paper, so please turn your notebook to the side and stack them up very neatly. All the place values match. It does not matter which side you put the minus sign on. It really doesn't matter. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract 4,308. I'm going to subtract that from 8,297. So you can see the larger number is on top. 8,000s is more than 4. And now I'm going to try to subtract. Okay, right away looking, I always start in the ones place, and right away I notice that I cannot take 8 away from 7. There's not enough. So I have to go next door and borrow. You also might notice that I have started covering these numbers up. I think that sometimes it just gets overwhelming to look at large numbers. So if you just cover them up with your fingers and go one step at a time, that may also help you with some stress. Okay, so I cannot take 8 away from 7. I need to go next door. I have a 9, so I'm going to borrow 1 from that. It becomes an 8, and then the 7 turns into 17. Okay, again, we can use our fingers, so you can put the large number in your head, 17, and the small number on your fingers, 8. So 17 in my head, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. So I get 9 here. 8 minus 0 is still 8. 3 minus 2, I can't do that. Or I'm sorry, 2 minus 3, I can't do that. I have to take away from a larger number. So I'm going to have to borrow next door. So my 8 now becomes a 7, and the 2 becomes a 12. Now I can take 12, I can take 3 away from 12, and that becomes 9. Then I go next door. 7 minus 4 is 3. Okay, so there I have my answer, 1, 2, 3, comma. The way to check our work is then to do the reverse. So the opposite of subtraction is addition. So what I would do is I would take the answer and I would write it down and I would add it to, it doesn't really matter, you could pick either one, but I'm gonna go with this one here because it's easier to read. I'm gonna add these together real quick to make sure that I got the answer right. So 9 plus 8, 17, 8 plus 1, 9. 9 plus 3 is 12. 1 plus 3 is 4 plus 4 is 8. And so then I can see that this number matches that number, which means I got the problem correct. Okay, that's how we check our work. So you should, when you add the 2, you should have the other number for the answer. Okay, now we're going to try this one down here. So I have 3,911 subtract 376. Okay. So first, right off the bat, I'm going to the ones place. I notice I cannot take 6 away from 1, so I look next door and I'm going to borrow. Okay, remember to only go one step at a time. Sometimes kids will just go ahead and go all the way over to here because then they know, oh, well, that's going to get me to 0 and I'm not going to be able to do that. Just go slow, do one step at a time. Just worry about the ones place. So I'm going to borrow that 1, and yes, that becomes 0. Don't worry about it yet. Go ahead and put the 1 over next to your other one. Now you have 11. Now we're going to go back and do 11 minus 6 gets me to 5. Okay. Now I'm going to slide over. I cannot take 7 away from 0. Now I'm going to look at the next place value. I'm going to borrow 1 from this 9, which makes it an 8. This becomes a 10. Now I'm going to go back. 10 minus 7, 3. Now I'm going to go to this place. 8 minus 3, 5, and then I just carry the 3 down. So my answer is 3,535. Again, all I have to do is add these two numbers back, and then to this, add them back. 5 plus 6 is 11, 1 plus 3 is 4, and 4 plus 7 is 11. 1 plus 5 is 6, plus 3 is 9, and I carry down my 3, and I see that this number matches the top number, and so check mark, I know I got the problem correct. All right, please let me know if you have any more questions or need any more practice with me, and please make sure your math notebook looks like mine. Thanks so much. Bye.